Young Thug's case is more than a criminal trial. As each day in court drags on, fans, activists, and legal experts are questioning, is this truly about justice, or is it about making an example of an influential African-American artist? The case so far, a witch hunt disguised as justice? Young Thug, aka Jeffrey Lamar Williams, stands accused of leading YSL, a label prosecutors allege is a violent gang network rather than a collective of artists. RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, charges pile on accusations of gang activity, drug distribution, and violence. Charges that carry heavy weight and a potential sentence of decades. Prosecutors claim Thug's lyrics about street life are thinly veiled references to his supposed leadership within a gang and are using them as damning evidence. Lyrics are cited as confessions, social media posts are signals, and even clothing is brought up as gang affiliation. To some, it's a textbook example of a witch hunt, especially in a genre where exaggerated narratives and persona building are intrinsic to the art form. But here's where it gets twisted. Thug's defense team argues that using lyrics as evidence unfairly targets black artists. This isn't a case where police found fingerprints or a gun. Instead, the prosecution is lifting stories of violence and hardship from Thug's music. Fictional, metaphor-laden lyrics that are common in hip-hop. For decades, artists in other genres have drawn from dark or edgy experiences, but few see their lyrics as incriminating. This case, critics argue, is a weaponization of black art and a chilling message to all artists who step outside mainstream, acceptable content. The double standards in court. Why aren't country and rock stars facing the same fire? If every artist were judged by their lyrics, the rock scene of the 70s or the rebellious anthems of punk would have seen droves of artists behind bars. Imagine Led Zeppelin being questioned for Stairway to Heaven, or Johnny Cash on the stand for singing about life behind bars. Prosecutors argue that Thug's lyrics glorify violence and signal actual criminal intentions. But why don't we hear the same argument about other musicians? Critics say that this selective use of lyrics as evidence is a blatant double standard. The racial undertones are undeniable. Critics argue that this trial is exploiting the stereotypical image of black rappers as gangsters to fuel a conviction. To many, it feels like the prosecutor is attempting to put an entire culture on trial, ignoring the fact that hip-hop has been an outlet and a voice for marginalized communities for generations. A defense caught in the crosshairs. Can Thug beat the odds? With so much media coverage, public opinion feels like another invisible weight in the courtroom. There's sympathy for Thug, yes, but there's also judgment, and some of that judgment comes from within the black community. Some argue that Thug's lyrics are too explicit, that his persona of street authenticity is too real, that he pushed the line between rapper and criminal to the edge. Yet Young Thug's supporters point out that other stars have crafted images that don't line up with reality. It's a common, well-known game in hip-hop. Show your scars to gain respect, even if those scars are exaggerated or borrowed. The release question: what will freedom look like for Young Thug if it even happens? Here's the part that has fans holding their breath. If he's released, Thug faces a different world outside those courtroom walls. His image will be marked by the trial, but does that mean he'll bounce back stronger, like Tupac did after his prison stint? Some say yes. Hip-hop history shows us that survival stories sell. If he walks free, Thug could drop an album about his experience, share memoir-like verses detailing every gritty step of this legal nightmare. Fans would line up to hear it. This would turn him into a symbol of resilience against systemic oppression, a modern-day outlaw in a genre that has always embraced rebels. But what if the verdict doesn't go his way? If he's convicted, the very industry that hyped him could abandon him. That's the harsh reality. Today's fans move quickly, and the industry often forgets yesterday's icons in favor of fresh faces. Extended prison time could mean Thug's cultural relevance fades, his music forgotten by a new generation. As the trial nears its conclusion, the weight on Young Thug's shoulders isn't just about freedom. His case could fundamentally change how courts treat rap music, with every bar and lyric scrutinized as potential evidence. For now, he's still a prisoner of the system, caught between art and law in a trial that feels like a battle for the soul of hip-hop itself. Whether Young Thug walks out a free man or loses his future to the courts, this case will echo far beyond the verdict, serving as a warning shot to artists everywhere.